Good evening, folks, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Paraquad speaker series, Love Is, a discussion on love and disability. I'm your host, Anna. I am not Stephen. I should probably change that, but here we are. So I'm your host, Anna, and we'd love to answer your questions, so drop them in the chat and hopefully we will get a chance to get to them. As I'm sure you've noticed, Valentine's Day is just around the corner, so we decided to do something lovey-dovey, as well as bring awareness and normalize people with disabilities in romantic relationships. So research shows that there are many benefits of social relationships: better emotional well-being, more favorable mental health, increased sense of belonging, stronger self-worth, and lowered stress. In an article from Mic.com, Laura Morwart said, "I wish that when people asked about disability and romance, they were less armed with ready-made suggestions or ready-made assumptions and more ready to listen to and learn from the answers." And that's what we're here to accomplish today. We want to open up a dialogue and tear down misconceptions about people with disabilities in relationships. So today we'll be talking with four amazing couples who have agreed to share their experiences about how disability and romantic relationships are more common than you think. So we're joined by four couples, Gabriella and Juan. Elizabeth and Mark is pending. Aaron and I apologize, is it Tamika?
Yeah, what's up?
Awesome. And then Kim and Andrew.
Hi.
So let's get into this. So I'm going to open it up first of all with a question to both partners. So I expect everyone to answer. So how did you meet and what did you think of each other when you met?
Let's see. Do you want to start with any particular one, or are we going to go rapid fire and just everyone goes whenever they want?
You know what? Gabriella's wearing the Batman shirt. Oh, we've got Elizabeth. Awesome.
Was it 6 or 6:30? Did I get the time wrong?
Yeah, it's 6.
I'm so sorry. It was at 6?
You're okay.
Oh, it's at 6.
Hopefully
here
you're
in
in
a
the middle
second.
of making dinner.
I'm so sorry. No, we were bringing the kids home from gymnastics.
Oh.
Sorry about that. We're here. Here he is.
All right. So we have Elizabeth and Mark. Awesome.
Hello.
So Gabriella and Juan. So the question once again is, how did you meet and what did you think of each other?
Well, we met on OkCupid, and it was actually the day after I had thought that I deleted all of my online dating profiles. So it's kind of funny that we actually started talking because I forgot to delete OkCupid. I'm glad I forgot in hindsight.
I think I messaged you first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got your message and I was like, oh crap, I forgot I'm still on OkCupid. But then we started talking and we actually got along. And it was nice. And that was 7 years ago. So
Wow.
Yeah.
So Juan, what was your first impression? What made you send the message first?
Honestly, for the most part, one of the things I really liked about OkCupid was, one, it was free. And two, the other thing is I liked that their matching was just based upon like a series of questions on, normally, I can't think of, basically they have tons of just different topics, things that you would normally, that are kind of important to bring up. Some of them are as simple as like, what's your preferred house temperature, to other things like, are you religious? Like, it's on both spectrums there. But one of the things that was nice was, I think, God, do you remember what the percentage was? It was
I
in
have
the
no
90.
idea.
I know it was in the 90%, which was kind of like funky. And then, the combination between I'd had plenty of relationships in the past for varying different reasons, but I was really kind of always looking for somebody who was a personality fit. And so that was one of the reasons why I was drawn to OkCupid, was I could actually go through and be like, Oh, they like Nazis. Never mind then. I don't actually think they have any
I'm
questions.
pretty sure that's not a question on OK.
But yeah, and then after that, I messaged. I've always been open to just about any opportunities that I thought to actually like find somebody who was a decent human being, and then I found this decent human being.
Awesome. I like that. Okay. Kim and Andrew, how did you meet and what did you think of each other?
So we kind of have two stories of when we met. One we don't actually remember, and then the actual first meeting that we remember. So
Okay.
I'll just briefly talk about the one that we don't remember. So my uncle and his dad used to work together a long time ago, and my uncle used to take me and my brother skiing, snow skiing, and Andrew and his brother used to go with his dad. And apparently we were all in Colorado at the same time snow skiing when we were about 9 or 10 years old and had lunch together. No memory, but it's a lovely story.
Yeah.
And then we met at, we were both working at Paraquad at the time. Kim still works at Paraquad. And I think, I think it was, I think at the sort of the Paraquad winter break between was it party? Well, no, that's not when we met. No, but well,
Yeah, so when I came in for my interview is when we officially remember meeting each other for the first time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then worked together in like back-to-back cubicles for a while. And I think I really liked his smile and he was easy to talk to and I liked his laugh.
Aw.
So yeah, and I thought she was great from the first moment that I saw her, but we kept it professional for a very
Very long time.
Okay. Awesome. That's adorable. Yeah, workplace romances. It's not quite like Grey's Anatomy, huh? So Aaron and Tamika, how did you two meet and what did you think of each other?
Well, we met in high school, so pre-disability for Aaron, and it was on the website, and I thought he was okay.
You thought he was okay.
He was all right.
Fine.
How did you make the man?
So
What about you, Aaron? What did you think?
yeah, so that's what I remember was meeting on the website, and I was very intimidated. She was out of my league, at least what I thought initially. And I actually saw her at the mall probably a week before we actually met. So we talked back and forth on online for a while, and I saw her at the mall just kind of by chance. I was hanging out with a friend, and I was too scared to say anything to her. So I just waited for the meeting that we had for the following week.
Aw,
All the way over there.
that's adorable. All right. Mark and Elizabeth.
We also met online, which seems to be a trend here. And
Yeah.
we were pretty casual at first, and we've been together for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, don't worry about my cat.
He's so cute.
Thank you. So Mark, what did you think?
So, I mean, shoot, the first day I met her was like instant, easy, connection. And I mean, shoot, the first time I saw her pictures online, she was like a firecracker, a lot of energy, just very magnetic, I think, really drew me in. It's kind of been like that ever since. So, yeah, it is very easy to kind of fall for her.
It's interesting. When we met, my health was at one of the best places it's been, and it's fallen since. And so I have been, nervous to see how our relationship would change as my health went up and down, but it really hasn't.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good 4 years.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it seems like of everyone here, Andrew and Kim, you guys are the weird ones. I also met my partner online, so and my impression when we first met was good friend. Would be nice to hang out with every once in a while, but then I was proved very wrong. So, all right. Second question. What is your role in your relationship? I know for me, I'm quite the planner and forward thinker. So how do you fit in your relationship?
I guess if we're going back in order, geez, how do I fit in?
Yeah, we might as well just keep an order to it.
I think we do a good job of like when you have a project, there's always like the idea person and then like the person who figures out how to get things done, like the details. I feel like we do a good job of like being both roles for each other because we like care about each other and we want each other to do good things and to like, accomplish things. And so I think we both do a good job of encouraging each other and of like trying to figure out the logistics of how to do things, I think.
Yeah, I've always kind of envisioned it kind of like as cheesy as it sounds, but it's kind of like the yin and yang symbol in the sense of that it's like we both have like an understanding of each other's specialties to a point where like, even if we feel like we don't understand it, like we can explain it well enough that the other one knows what we're talking about. And so because of that, it's always been really easy for us to kind of give and take on different stuff. And it helps that we both have a lot of shared interests and all the other things. So yeah, in terms of position, we just sort of fill whatever hole needs to be filled in different circumstances.
Okay. Awesome. Kim and Andrew?
I would say that I'm a little bit more social as far as going out and stuff like that. So I tend to plan more of our stuff with friends and family and that kind of thing. I'd also say that I'm the saver and he's the spender. So that's fun.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think I kind of help sort of kind of plan with some of the details. Like we like to travel, and so I tend to like to kind of handle sort of some of the logistics of what we're gonna do, and one of the and I also am really good at talking to customer service folks, which Kim will not do.
Yeah,
So
we established that pretty quickly. He's in charge of utilities, internet, phone people, all of that. So that worked out.
Because I have the patience for that, and getting through all those kind of the small details so that we can have a good time and stuff. So
He's also the technology person for sure.
Awesome.
And I'm the funny one.
Right.
You're the funny one.
Just a bit. That's a shared.
Yeah.
That's funny. So yeah, that was funny. Good job, Andrew. You proved that point. Aaron?
So I would say my role in the relationship, I'm more of a type B personality, so definitely go with the flow and just try to find the path of least resistance, and the support role. So If things need to be done at a little bit of faster pace or something like that, I play the support role. So I make sure stuff is organized ahead of the time, or try to make sure the kids stay out of the way. Wake up earlier if I need to, or cook or something like that, just so that Tamika can play the support role, because I move slower, and even without my disability, I just move slower in general. So I let Tamika handle some of the things that are more time sensitive.
Yeah, I'm a big planner, type A personality. Let's get it done now. Hurry up, do it when I say do it.
Okay.
Type person. So
You shoot the stuff out your feet.
he helps follow through on a lot of projects that I get started.
So you start and he finishes.
Mhm.
That's funny. So yeah, I'm sensing a yin and yang theme here, as Juan pointed out. All right, Elizabeth and Mark.
Well, to put it like in a nutshell, I would say I'm the muscle and she's the brains, to put it short. And she's definitely the biggest planner and just like vision board type person. And it's like she's got all these trips that are just fantastic for us, new experiences, just like getting out and not just sitting, which is kind of like what I do, which is not a lot. So
But then he's more like okay, but we need to pick up stuff around the house. We need to pay the bills. He's
Yeah.
grounding. He's
I'm
very,
much more practical, I guess you could say.
of the two of us at
Of
least.
the two of us, yeah.
But I also, one thing that I like about us is that we recognize when one of us needs to freak out and the other one kind of assumes that calming role, and it doesn't matter which one of us it is, the other one like senses that and compensates for it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
we kind of take
equalize.
turns back and we equalize, and we take turns going back and forth with who gets to freak out and who gets to be the
Yeah,
it's going to be okay.
we all have our
Yeah.
days,
Yeah,
and we support each other whenever we need to.
I can see that. Yeah, especially like in my relationship. Yeah, we definitely tag team that.
Mhm.
So this week it's my turn to be in a mood. Next week it's so yeah, that's cool. So I'm sorry for the cattail once again. What are you
Welcome
doing?
edition.
Can you grab the cat,
The
please?
cattail is a bonus here.
Yeah, it's a highlight.
So cute. Okay. So I'm going to kind of veer into more of the disability specific questions. So we're going to start positive, because a lot of times, they want to focus on what you can't do, right? So I want to focus on what were some unexpected perks related to disability in your relationship?
Parking.
What?
Parking.
Working?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
He also uses my van a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
So one of my favorite / most utilitarian uses of the van is like a lot of you guys are obviously familiar with like accessible vans, and we have a side loading ramp. And so because of that, the van is basically like completely gutted on the inside. So I've used it to haul furniture. I've used it. My friend broke down on the side of the road, and we loaded his motorcycle into the van.
I didn't even know about that.
You didn't know about that? I
No.
asked for information and everything. Yeah,
I
Chris's motorcycle broke
I
down.
think that was a situation where maybe I didn't know all the details.
Yeah,
And I
no,
said, yeah.
we literally put his motorcycle into the van and it fit. It took a little shimmy in, but it went in. And it's like a running joke. The shop that rebuilds some of my engines, they love me because like they've had people show up with like engines in the back of trucks and the back of station wagons. But with me, I literally just wheel the engine out of the van, off the ramp, and straight into their garage. So they don't have to do any lifting. They don't have to use any tools. It's just like, whoop, there's the engine.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Moving, I tell you what, moving with a wheelchair accessible van is like, yeah, just roll the dolly right up into the van. That's cool. When we were planning this panel and brainstorming questions, my supervisor actually said snarkily parking. and then y'all just fulfilled that. So thank you for that. All right, Kim and Andrew.
So I don't know, my family, we travel with my family a lot. We go on cruises and stuff, and they always say they love traveling with us because we get to go to the front of lines a lot. Which is a nice perk. We're like, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean,
What else?
I
mean, I think
no, go ahead.
I mean, the perks of dating for myself, somebody else with a disability, is just that kind of shared experience that we both have of both having a disability. And for me, it's even made me more comfortable with my own disability. So that was a perk for me.
Yeah, and I would just say that the going, I mean, not just sort of cutting in line, but also not cutting in line, but going for, going first and getting and having sort of, and kind of having a companion accompany you, especially since we're two individuals with a disability. Sometimes like that, like family members are like, okay, I'll go with Andy, and somebody else will go with Kim, and so that, I mean, and that, so that is nice. I mean, that is.
And you can get the whole group with you.
Yes, the whole group, and then they're like, that sounds not so bad, and so yeah.
I like that. I haven't thought of that. I need to date someone with a disability. Sorry, dear. We're gonna have to break up. Just kidding. So okay. Aaron and Tamika.
I probably would agree with definitely the parking and the moving aspect as well. The awesome perks.
I thrift a lot, so something that I need to pick up, I'm gonna be like, I need your van. Front of the lines at Six Flags.
Yeah. So if you did not know this, if you have a disability, you can skip the line at Six Flags. So you don't have to wait in the line at all. You just kind of go through the back way. So that's really nice. You don't have to wait anywhere near as long. I kind of would say socially as well a little bit. There's some perks. You can ask help for almost anything at any point, anywhere, and majority of people will help you. Even if it's as much as putting your groceries in the car, especially if you have a lot of them. Some people will help you even without you asking them. That's a double-edged sword, though. That's a double-edged sword, though. It could be have great timing, or it could be terrible timing. It just depends.
I've been there, yeah. Getting the help. I had someone, where was I? I don't even remember, but I was getting my own soft drink. So I had the cup and everything, was getting ready to push for my selected soda, and someone literally just grabbed the cup from me and started doing whatever, and they gave it to me, and I was like, that wasn't the soda I wanted. Very sad. All right. And Tamika, you said the parking in the van was nice. Yeah. Okay. Elizabeth and Mark.
Yeah, so like a couple other people have said so far, like parking is great, getting to go around the lines at like amusement parks, and like priority boarding on airlines is I like that.
Yeah.
We like skip through security. It's basically like having the
That's a good
is
one.
it the pre-check kind of thing? So that's pretty nice.
And you get to board by yourself. Yeah. It's like, all right, please come on in, get situated before everyone else gets on.
Yeah. And
that is a double-edged sword, though, because you are the last one to get off the plane.
Yes.
yes, that is true.
So what
I kind of like that, though.
I really need to use the
personally.
bathroom. Well, you're gonna have to wait until everyone's
Exactly.
off.
You just relax. Yeah. I personally like that, though, because I just get to sit there and relax, let everybody go. So
Yeah.
still works for me.
I think I'm gonna kind of speak on behalf of you, but I think you've had a lot of experiences, and cool experiences in meeting new people.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't have had if you hadn't dated someone with a disability.
Mhm.
You've gotten to learn a lot of new things, and I think you probably consider yourself more educated on the topic now.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought this up because I was thinking something along this line, that it just kind of opened up this whole thing that was just basically know nothing about. Like it just cracks open this huge, part of empathy, that
Mhm.
didn't really have to use or access before, of this huge part of the population.
Which, speaking of reminding him, we are both pretty. Can I say a part of your life?
I think so.
We're-
I don't know what you're gonna say.
We're both pretty sure that Mark has ADHD.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He will get tested soon for it, but I have learned patience as well, and I have learned how to sort of restructure my own speech and my own planning and expectations even, and we kind of like meet each other because I have ADHD and we are able to recognize in each other, and
Mhm.
I've learned how I am to live with, first of all, which is not easy, and how to be more patient about that kind of thing,
Yeah, so it's like personal growth benefits.
for sure.
It's pretty good.
Okay. So then on the flip side, what do you think are some disability related challenges? Or first of all, of course, are there any disability related challenges in your relationship? And if there are, then what do you think those are?
Yeah, I think the times where like stuff gets tense between us is very often related to me not having enough care. Like caregivers coming in, like PCAs.
Mhm.
Because there are a lot of times where like if I, need an aid and I can't find one, then he kind of needs to pick up the slack. And I don't think I don't feel like a burden, in that way, but I think as a disabled person, it's kind of natural to feel like a burden sometimes. Because you have society telling you that, you're kind of a burden and it's really difficult to like take care of you and stuff. And so I think that weighs heavily but differently on both of us when I don't have the right kind of care. But I don't know, what do you think?
I pretty much agree on that one. Yeah, there's a lot of scheduling and planning things that go with coordinating the sudden loss of the sudden holes in care schedule. There we go. We'll go with that.
Yeah, I feel that. My partner has been doing quite a bit of traveling, and just when like the first time she had to go for 3 weeks, and I was like, what do I do for care? Like, I also have PCAs, but they weren't coming on the weekends because I wanted to kind of have some off time, and and that was a big thing to navigate, is just you don't want to ask too much, and you don't want to be a burden even though they tell you you're not. So yeah.
I think I'm very lucky that my parents live in town, and so my mom is able to come help sometimes. And I'm glad that she and Juan get along for that reason. Because it'd be rough if I had less support from other people too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Human Andrew?
Transportation.
Yeah.
Transportation, because I think both of us have disabilities, and neither of us can drive, even though we have a van, which would be really cool to move and stuff, but we can't like drive the van, so we usually have to have someone drive us, or we rely on public transportation or accessible Ubers or Lyfts or taxis in cities.
In other cities.
And right, in cities that actually have those options.
Right.
Which
Yeah, I
may
was like,
not
where did you
be,
guys find that? I need to
may
fill out
not
my
be St.
phone.
Louis sometimes. So
Yeah.
that, and I think we also find, and I say like things that require fine motor skills, because I have difficulty with fine motor skills, and Kim has low vision.
Mhm.
So we can like complement each other in most things, but that's kind of one thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna have to wait for somebody else to help us, open this or whatever.
Just direction, or just provide directions. Kim, move your thumb just a quarter of an inch to.
Oh
It's
my
like-
gosh.
Yeah. I see
There.
that, yep. Kim, do you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, we saw the question or whatever, we're like, transportation. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's it. That's the big one.
And it's so hard. Like St. Louis is rough, I've
have
been
to have a
to
car
DC and
anywhere.
Chicago, and those cities are, you can get an accessible taxi pretty quick. But St. Louis. Mm-mm. So, all right, Aaron and Tamika.
Yeah, I would say some of the things that are more physically challenging. So we have laundry that's in the basement of our house, and laundry falls almost entirely on Tamika, at least the washing and drying part. So she washes and dries and hauls all the clothes upstairs. And that is a big challenge. And I do my best to make sure the clothes are folded and put away and everything else like that once they get up here. But that physical task, and I figure I'm a pretty strong guy, but that whole traveling downstairs and come back up on the stair lift is a long trip, especially with 2 kids.
Yeah. And especially since we were together before the disability, he was my lifted guy. So everything that I'm used to doing, he would normally pick big things up or whatever. And now he can't do it anymore. Well, not he can't do it anymore, but it's a challenge on how to get it done. So sometimes we have to find tools or find somebody to help, or I have to learn how to do it. So that's probably one of the bigger things.
Yeah. Kind of going off what you mentioned, I was wondering if you would feel comfortable sharing that adjustment, since I think, you're the only couple here who acquired the disability later on in the relationship. Would you feel comfortable sharing your experience about that?
Yeah, that's not a big deal. It was really hard on my end because I was kind of stuck in that role. I felt like that was a good role for me. It kind of fit our relationship and our partnership very well. And after I lost that, it was really hard for me to jump into more of a supportive role, and I didn't know how to do that. Plenty of trial and error and lots of frustration and things like that, but finally got it down, and it just began to iron itself out even more, especially now that we have kids. So when my first son came along, all that ironed out a lot better, and it was easier to be more of a supportive role. Yeah.
I don't know the dog or eat.
That's trending.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm sorry, our kids are like running amok.
You're okay.
But yeah, for us, it's the same thing that, well, for me, it wasn't as hard because I've always been the planner. And for me, it was, let's go straight to fixing the issue and trying to find something else. And it was hard for me to be the support person because he's more the emotional person. So we kind of bumped heads in trying to switch those roles and figure out like how to move forward without causing more damage to the other person, like trying to do our own healing.
Yeah.
He'll move on.
Yeah. So Aaron, could you talk a little bit about about that, about what am I thinking? About how you acquired your disability and just kind of a little bit of context for that.
Sorry, she had to go play referee. Yeah. So I was almost 10 years ago now. So I was a victim of a home invasion. A guy broke into my home and shot me. I survived, T11 paraplegic, and it was kind of a moment of entire disbelief for everybody in my entire family, almost in my whole world. Everybody that knew me heard the story and really just couldn't believe it. But finding things that made me happy and it made things easier. Finding things that made me happy made things easier. So I got really into exercise again. I got really deep back into school, trying to make sure to find my role in my relationship again. That was another challenge. But once we started finding paths, at least to get there, things got a little easier. I'm not saying they're easy, but they got a little easier. And I just kind of went back down my original path before I got hurt, because I was in chiropractic school. And after I got hurt, I decided to drop out and I pursued occupational therapy, which that's what I do at the Stephen A. Orthwein Center, shameless plug. So I've been, once I found occupational therapy, I just found a way to be as close to the normal me as I could, without as many limitations.
Yeah, imagine, and just final question for you, sorry.
That's all good.
And then how far along in your relationship were you?
In our relationship, we were only married for 2 years, but we're high school sweethearts. So we had been together for 6 years before we got married.
Okay. So, okay. You guys have been together for a bit. You kind of already were committed to each other.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. So, Mark and Elizabeth, are there any disability-related challenges in your relationship?
I'd say one of them is that no plan is 100% a sure thing. I know it took a while for Mark to catch on to that. We went on a couple of vacations where we kind of butted heads a little bit, got a little frustrated because I was like, no, sorry, I know we were supposed to do this today. I need to rest. And he didn't realize yet that that's a part of vacation for me, is resting. And even just at home, sometimes we were supposed to do something and I have a flare, I get sick and I'm not able to do it. And so it's that uncertainty can be really, really difficult to learn and adapt to.
Yeah. Sure can. I'd say for me, and these kind of days are rare, but like if like she needs to rely on me for something and I'm either physically or mentally just worn down or exhausted or something, like either I have to power through or maybe neither one of us does anything, there are some days where it's like you can't really have that day off or that time to recuperate. It's like you got to do like not really your job, but like that's kind of like who I am sometimes.
He is my caretaker sometimes. Yeah. That is true.
It's a responsibility. I mean, I'm here. I'm here to support hers.
And we also have a unique relationship where it's not always on you. I have another partner, Dustin. So Mark and I have been together for 4.5 years, and Dustin and I have been together for 9 years. And that's one of the benefits of polyamory, to be honest, is it doesn't all fall on you. And when it does, I'm not trying to diminish that. I know it's hard when it does, but that's one of the reasons we started exploring it, Dustin and I did, and that's one of the reasons it works so well for us, is that I do require care and I don't have, care attendants, things like that.
Mhm.
And so to have two partners kind of share the load, and I also I'm very high maintenance in general. I'm a high maintenance girl. And so to have two men share that load, I think is a lot easier than having one take it all on. But it's not for everyone. I'm not trying to say that
Yeah.
monogamy is bad or that polyamory solves all problems. That is, is for everyone. It just
Right.
works for us.
Right. I really like that perspective. Like, as someone who, relies quite heavily on her partner, and, being able to share the load like that. Because sometimes, I think this is the one thing, one word that is a sore subject for a lot of people with disabilities, maybe even all of us, is burden, right? You don't want to feel like, like Mark said, I'm not feeling 100% today, and yet, I need to do these things. And it's not anything about Elizabeth. It's not anything, it's just something that has to be done. And it's kind of hard to negotiate that on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had that talk before, because I know she like at one point we had this conversation about, like, I can't remember if it was her that brought it up or if it was me. I think it was her, about her not feeling right about, like, almost putting me in this like caretaker role, and like that was just what I was, and how we reconciled that. So yeah, we've had that talk once or twice, maybe more, about how we work through that. And so we kind of have this understanding where it's like, I haven't been just like falling into that role. It's just like, those are some of the things that I need to do. And that's how it is.
It's good to take control of your relationship, not looking like other relationships, and being okay with that, and owning your own relationship, like our relationship, even without my other partner, our relationship isn't going to look like other people's. And that's totally okay, because it's not other people's relationship, it's ours. And as long as the two of us are okay with it, then that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. Elizabeth, there's a question that was popped into the chat. Would you mind sharing your disability?
I have chronic illness, but I do identify as disabled more than chronically ill, just because that's what I choose to identify as, and I love the disability community. I have a neurological illness and an immune illness, and I'm a wheelchair user because of these illnesses. I'm also neurodivergent, and so that's another just aspect of it. But yeah, I use a wheelchair to compensate for the illnesses.
Okay. All right. So how about we lighten the topic a little bit? So what is the funniest disability related story that you can share? And I'm gonna just do my own shameless sharing for a second. Has anyone been, or had anyone been to Hamburger Mary's downtown? It was a drag show restaurant, and they've closed because of COVID. But one time we went there, and I insisted on getting my partner super drunk because I hadn't seen it yet. And so I just kept making sure that she had a Long Island iced tea in front of her the whole night. And so we left at like 12:30, I want to say, and I drive. So I was driving us back home, and the entire time she's like, what were you even wanting? What was it again? Quesarito from Taco Bell. And she's like, I could really go for a quesarito right now. And so I'm like, okay, let's go. And we stopped through a Taco Bell drive-through and placed the order. She's just super hammered in the passenger seat. and I get to the drive-through window and they just say, "Oh, you're just so inspirational. Oh, this is just so heartwarming." And I'm like, I'm getting a taco for my drunk partner so we can go home and go to bed after being at the bar, but okay.
I would say it's a pretty solid life goal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, fine, that's whatever. So attitudes, you know. All right. So Gabriella and Juan.
What was the question? Sorry.
Yeah, I kind of lost track of
Funny story, yeah.
I know.
Still thinking about
what-
Hamburger Mary's. Is that actually the name of the place?
Was it Hamburger Patties?
It was Hamburger Mary's. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
drag show. Like they had food bar and like you could
I
reserve a
just love that being the name. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's so unassuming.
I
Yeah.
know. And I'm like, hamburgers, that sounds good. Let's go. And then, you know, you're getting kissed by all the queens in St. Louis. So. But the question, sorry for getting us off topic. What is the funniest disability related story you can share?
That's the one. Did you come up with any really good ones? If not, I'm gonna dig deep into my brain.
The what? The what? What was the adjective?
Funniest?
What?
What was the funniest disability related story you can share between the two of you?
Oh,
So it
okay,
has to be
so
with both of
he's
you.
a really, really loud laugher. And so every time he laughs, it drowns out whatever you're saying.
I
So
believe you've referred to it as shrill before.
it's very true. So
Ear splitting, I think, has been tossed out.
I think I would say a funny one was, I don't know if this was disability related, but I feel like it was. For a while, every time we went out to a restaurant, somebody secretly paid for our meal, so we didn't have to pay at the end. And I'm not
This
sure.
is one of those unexpected perks, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Free
Well,
food.
I wasn't sure if it was that we were just really cute because it was when like we had first gotten together, so we were very like lovey-dovey and we laughed a lot. And not that we don't do that now, but it was very like young and like free laughter without adult responsibilities. And
Mhm.
so I don't know if
Sure,
it
we
was
did not.
because of that or the disability or the fact that we're interracial or something, but somebody seemed to like watching us eat together, and so it was a few times on different days that we would go to a restaurant and at the end they'd be like, somebody paid for your meal. So like by the end of that happening, we were kind of like, all right, what can we do to capitalize on this? Should I wear like a blue dress or should we smile more? Like how do we make this continue for as long as possible? Because it's nice.
Let's milk it.
More on the
Yeah.
diversity. Half my
Yeah.
family's Jewish. Maybe I should get a Star of David thing going on. I
Something.
celebrated
I
Hanukkah
know.
growing up.
Or like Gabriella, just get there and look like you're waiting for, you know, a blind date who never showed up and just
Yeah.
look extra pathetic. Like, let's just layer on all the layers of pathetic.
Just like sit at a table and start crying.
See if someone will just buy the whole bar for you or something.
Yeah.
I got that once and someone paid for my meal and they said thank you for your service and I was like, oh whatever, I'm just eating a burger. And then later on I'm like, oh no, they thought I was a vet. That was the only time I felt bad about it. I'm like, I'm not actually a vet.
Well, I found out as an adult that when my younger brother was asked why I use a wheelchair, he used to tell people that it was because I was a veteran and I fought in war. But I was like 17. Like there's no way that would have happened, but
I've
I
seen
thought it
some
was still
things.
really funny. I don't know.
The war of middle school. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Kim and Andrew.
Okay, I'll go first with the concert thing,
You're good.
and then you do the table story.
No, you had to
So,
tell it.
no, you tell the table story. So, so once we were at a concert, and then when the concert was, and we watched the concert, and when the concert was over, someone came up to us, and I have out of the two of us, I have the visible disability, to kind of the very obvious disability, and then Kim not so much, obvious disability. So they come up to me, and this person said, "Did you enjoy the show?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I enjoyed the show." And then is that we enjoyed watching you enjoy the show. And I was a little bit like, kind of like,
It was so weird.
okay.
Oh, that's creepy.
It was
Exactly.
That's real creepy.
it was like,
All we can do is laugh about it now, but yes, it was very.
like really like, oh, the concert's not very exciting, but there's this person with a disability. Let's watch him like curiously enjoy this. That's not weird at all. No. All
Oh
right,
my
you want
God.
to start the table story?
So the table story. So we have like a large square kitchen table. It seats like 6. And like I was over in the kitchen area getting dinner ready. And all of a sudden I just hear all this commotion. And I see the table swinging around our room. And I'm like, "Andy, what are you doing? Stop." He's like, "I can't stop." His controller got stuck under the table somehow and just like got wrenched in there. And so by the power of his wheelchair, he's swinging the table like 360 degrees around our room. It slams up against the wall. 2 chairs are underneath the table, but nothing really got broken. Like we had a wine rack against one of the walls and like nothing got broken. It was amazing. Yeah,
Meanwhile,
it was really good.
your neighbor
it was
downstairs is wondering what's going on.
Like we had the whole like table was set, like it was all had the stuff, and it didn't move, it didn't break. It was like, wow.
It ended up against another wall, but
Yeah.
Andy's the
But it was-
magician.
It turned 180
See this
degrees.
360 trick I can do.
and then the classic for myself of wearing 2 different shoes all day long. Once very early on in my days at Paraquat, and nobody told me. So my mom picked me up for dinner that night and she told me. But more recently I did it again and a coworker told me. So I'm like, "Thank you."
Oh my
Good to
gosh.
know. Black and dark brown are really, really tricky for me.
Yeah, I feel that. Aaron and Tamika.
Kim, I did that last month. So they were very closely related boots.
Yep, one of mine was boots. Yep.
Oh yeah. So like really early on in my injury, I think I wasn't even injured a year yet. I was hanging out with a friend of mine who's also in a chair, and me, him, and Tamika went to, was it the Moonrise or was it
somewhere in the loop?
It was, I know we're in the Del Mar Loop. I can't remember if it was Moonrise Hotel or if we went to like Pinup Bowl or something like that. But went there, we had a good time. It was a great night. And so we're a little tipsy. Me and Brian are a little tipsy. We're trash talking back and forth about who could win in a race. So like 2:30 in the morning, in the middle of the loop, we just line up and Tamika starts counting us down to race. So we count down, we were racing, pushing up the street. We got people cheering for us, other people who are definitely not sober as well, cheering for us. And finally get done, a guy kind of runs up to us, he's like, "Yay, y'all aren't really in wheelchairs, are you?" It was so random. It was almost as random as what you said earlier, Andrew. Because why would we be out 2:30 in the morning just It's wrong playing around in a
So he
wheelchair.
was, so he's part
We
of
got
that.
nothing better to do.
He's missing a part of that. So like after they raced, some other guys asked if they could race. So they got out of their chairs so that other guys could get in the chairs and race down the street. So they're sitting on like a little bench on the side.
Uh-huh.
We were in front of pinup. They were sitting in the
was right,
chairs
the
in
chairs
front of pinup. And so when the guys brought the chairs back and they got back in their chairs, the other guys were like, so you guys aren't really in chairs? And so they were confused because they had lent their chairs to someone else. So
Oh my goodness, I love it. All right, Elizabeth and Mark.
Having trouble thinking of any really good stories.
Yeah.
I do know just like all of the fun we've had with the wheelchair, like sticking the sparklers in the back of it and going down a hill really fast on 4th of July, and you have the sparklers streaming after you. We did that. We
Yeah.
had his dog, and I had him on a leash, and we were trying to get him to do a sled dog type of thing, and it did. He pulled me out of the chair. Actually, is what happened. But just different things like that is what all I can think of really.
Yeah. There's this one, I guess I'll just call him a weird dude in Vegas. We were some guy, we were doing like this photo shoot, right? Yeah. So she was doing a photo shoot and I was there with her, obviously. And so I was off to the side and this dude comes up, because I think I was sitting on a bench or something like that. So the guy comes up and he's like, saying like, oh, she's so beautiful and you two are great together. And like, some of the things he was saying was almost implying that like I was doing
A favor.
like a favor or like a service.
You're such a great guy. You're such a
Yeah.
great guy for being with her.
And I was just,
But like right after
like,
saying I'm gorgeous and stuff,
yeah.
like how do you go from she's so gorgeous, oh she's so great, oh you're so great for being with her? Like I don't see the
Like-
connect there.
Oh God.
yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, thanks.
It
And I was just like,
But that's
I'm
actually,
also
like,
engaged.
a real like deep fear of mine is that people think
Yeah.
that about us is like, I mean, and I know some people do, is just like that they think that I am with him. He's with me out of charity or something.
Right.
Uh-huh.
No, it's not really funny. It's just weird.
It's just
It's strange
weird,
to me is
weird
all.
stories
So,
like that.
Yeah. And
There's-
it
there's
always
a couple
comes
of
up at
those.
like the most inconvenient times, you know, like you guys are just doing
Mhm.
your daily life and people are like, oh, you're a good
Mhm.
guy. And it's like,
There was the time we were at Olive Garden with the whole family, which includes the 3 of us and his 2 daughters, and his daughter was about 5 at the time. And it was an Olive Garden, it was Fratelli's. And we were trying to get out of there because she was done. She was 5 and we need to get her out. And this woman stops me on the way out and she's like, can I pray for you? Can I pray for your healing? And first of all, you don't need to heal me. I'm good. Pray for accessibility in the city, sure, but don't pray to
Yeah.
heal me. But
Yeah.
also, can you see that I'm trying to get a crying 5-year-old out of the restaurant? We need to leave. This is not an ideal time for you to be stopping me, asking if you can
Mhm.
heal me.
mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Oh, I hate
That's
that.
such a weird,
Mhm.
it makes it into such a weird vibe too, because like I had a guy one time, I was at the movie theater and he just like came up to me and was really super nice and was just chatting with me about stuff. And then he turned to walk away and then he came back and he was like, and you know what, I'll pray that you get better. And it was like, come on, dude.
Mm.
I'll pray that your attitude gets better.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
I thought we were vibing as people and
Uh-huh. Yeah. So this is not part of the questions that I sent you guys, so I apologize for that. But how do you handle that? How do you handle people's frustrating attitudes? And you know, especially as a partner, when you see that happen, is there something you wish you could say or something you have said?
So
Most of my friends have been pretty much on their best behavior, and I don't We don't meet strangers together very often anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
You make it sound like you just used to go in like blacked out vans and like we don't meet strangers anymore.
We don't kidnap people anymore. We've left that life behind us.
I mean, that van that Juan was saying, you've got so much space.
Yeah, I think
We
I
found a
don't-
service that kidnaps them for us
No.
now.
no, but in reality, I usually if people say weird stuff like that, I just try to say like, oh, that's really nice, thank you, but I'm really okay. Like, I try to look at their intent, and usually it's meant as like they are trying to say something nice, but they're just awkward about it. Like that's been
Mhm.
my experience, and so I usually like try to acknowledge their intent and say thanks, but then I do think it's important to have a follow-up like, oh thanks, but I'm good. I'm good. I hope you
I'm
get better.
good.
I hope
You're
you get
good.
better. I don't know.
We're
like,
all good.
yeah, like I
It's
try
all
to like,
good.
yeah, I try to like do like a, I'm really okay. I'm not like, I don't like walk around crying or anything about my disability. Like I'm okay. But yeah, it's definitely really awkward. I don't know.
We try to just move the conversation on, but then afterwards we will definitely talk shit about them.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
It depends on our mood that day.
We had that one guy at the grocery store come up to me, had no idea who he was, and then he was like, so how long are you in that thing?
Right.
And it's like, you don't know me. I'm not even, I wasn't even from around there. That was in LA. So he had no idea who I was. And he was, and I was just like, it's a chronic thing, because that's my general response. It's a chronic thing. I'm just in it. But then he left, and for like the next 3 aisles, I was just going off on him to Mark. 'Cause I was like, how dare he just like come up to a stranger and ask these invasive medical questions? Like, I don't get it.
So,
And you had no idea how many times people in wheelchairs got stopped until you started going out with me.
exactly. I was going to say, I had no idea of this thing where it's like, if a lot of people, if they can't like see a reason for you to be using the, the accommodations that you're using, maybe you shouldn't have them, and they'll wonder why you do.
Or they'll
And
just
the-
wonder why in general, not even maybe you shouldn't have
Yeah.
them, but it's like wheelchair users come with a sign that says, hey, you should talk to me, which
Right.
I don't get that. I don't know if they think they're being like nice to the poor disabled person or what, but like when we were at the New Year's party,
Yeah.
we were at there's this drunk guy came up to us at the New Year's party at the casino and just like would not stop talking to me, because apparently I was a very interesting person to talk to, and I promise you I was not. But it was the wheelchair, and he was like bewildered, and I was like, no, it's the wheelchair. That's what it is. It draws these weirdos in.
Yeah.
Everybody
I-
has the right to be ignored or overlooked.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I was wearing, I remember I was coming home from work. I was wearing a suit that day at work. So I'm going down the sidewalk wearing a suit, and all of a sudden this car stops, and then this woman says, hey, hang on. And I thought there was like some problem. And this girl jumps out of the car and hugs me and says, you just look like you needed a hug. And I was like, okay, well, I don't need a hug. Like, I was like, okay, I'm going into my house now. I mean, it was just, people think that like, that they,
I mean, so many blessings and prayers at the grocery store, on the Metrolink.
Right.
It's like,
when we're getting beer from I liked it when we were getting beer from the Culinaria. Some guy comes up and didn't even say anything really, touched me on the shoulder and said he bled for you. What he said as he just walked away, and I'm just like, that's one way to start a conversation.
Yes. Mostly it's just incredibly awkward. And then after the fact, you talk about all the things that you wish you had the nerve to say, and then laugh about it. So
Yeah.
Well, see, I say it, so
Yeah.
yeah, like
She has very
Aaron.
little filter.
Yeah, Aaron usually is the nice guy, so most of the time I don't say much because he's usually like, "No, it was okay."
Tamika, I absolutely
Yeah.
believe you say something. I fully believe that.
And sometimes we wear T-shirts that say it before somebody else would say anything. Like we are fond of smart alecky or sarcasm on our T-shirts, but
Yeah.
yeah,
We just-
normally I'm just like, no, like when people, oh, can I help? Can I lift you up some stairs? No, he don't want nobody to lift him up the stairs.
I hate it.
Mhm.
Like we're just not gonna go. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it. But so but sometimes he's like, no, they're trying to be nice. And I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, I definitely I'm
Oh.
sorry, I definitely get sarcastic when if somebody asks like what Elizabeth is saying, like, oh, how long have you been in that thing? I did find a lot of success in saying it's really weird. I just came out of the room with my butt attached to a wheelchair. Isn't that weird? And then you walk away to make you stupid.
Right.
The only thing worse than like, how long have you been in that thing? Are all the old men calling you speed demon?
Yeah, I got speeding.
I'm gonna give you a speeding
Now you're gonna
ticket.
get a ticket. Oh.
Right.
You got a horn on that thing?
Oh.
And sometimes I'm like, yes, and then I honk the horn, and then yeah.
And then they're like, oh, you do. Oh, and then Jessica Gordon says, or hell on wheels. Yeah. Yes, just stop. Just stop. Just stop. You don't need to address it. It's fine. Just relax. So I was born with my disability. I'm congenital quadruple amputee, so I'm missing my legs too. So I use a wheelchair. And I hate when people are like, what happened to you? And I'm like, because I was born with it. I was like, I was born.
I was born.
That's I got. I was just born. And it was all downhill from there. I don't know. So question. So is it okay if we get a little intimate?
I mean, maybe with a little dinner first. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
I made an inappropriate joke. I said
You
maybe-
made an appropriate. Oh, I have to get you dinner first.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine. Tomorrow night work for you. So how did you early on in your relationship negotiate intimacy? How did you figure that out? I don't know. We don't have to get like
You want me to
nitty gritty
volunteer
into
to
the
go first?
details.
I'm sure.
Too late. I've already said something. Attention
Okay.
is drawn.
Okay.
Do you want me to say? Do you
I
want
don't,
to say?
okay, whatever. I'll just talk about it. So when we were first together, I was very religious. And so we both kind of, I think, learned that journey together. Like, I didn't really know a lot about how it was going to work. And Juan had never been with anybody with a disability. So he didn't really know how it was going to work. But we kind of made it work, I guess. I don't know if that's vague enough or specific enough to answer the question. But
As much as you're comfortable, yeah. So you both went in
At the end of the
having
day, it's
no
just,
idea what to do.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just like it's not a very sexy answer, but communication is
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
yeah.
It's like, one of the biggest things like in any relationship that involves intimacy is that, TVs and movie shows have always made it out to be this like romantic magical connection thing, but at the end of the day, honestly, for most of us mere mortals, like you have to just talk about stuff. You have to be willing to be like, well, that didn't work, and just like be willing to laugh about stuff and just like have it be a fun experience, even if like things don't go quite as romantically as planned. Like,
It can still be fun and good and a good thing for the relationship. And I think a baseline of like respect and empathy are also very important because I never have felt like disrespected about it around you. And it would have been easy to make me feel that way early on. So
Yeah. Respect. It's one thing to be able to laugh about an awkward situation, and it's another thing to feel like, completely disrespected. So communication definitely is the way to go, and sounds so cliche, but
It's just true.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the easy answer, but it's the, like I said, it's the not fancy answer.
mhm.
But as a person who has what am I thinking? Anxiety, talking about things and planning things. Yes, please, let's do this. Let's talk about it and then figure things out from there. So
Yeah.
Kim and Andrew, are you okay to answer?
With a little bit. I mean, I think add to whatever, but I think once we figured out like how to figure out the transportation piece of how to actually get in the same place with each other, plus get past the barrier of, for the first year of our relationship, I lived on the second floor of an apartment building with no elevator. And then also figuring out the whole like helping him transfer thing. And that was just a matter of becoming more comfortable with each other.
Yeah, that goes back to the communication. I mean, I think the communication is just like, essential. And I think, but it's different. It's different than like what the societal expectation is as to how the relationship is supposed to progress and go. It's just you, but you kind of have to make it your own. I think is what we just learned.
Yeah. And like what Elizabeth said earlier about, you just make your it's just your relationship. You can't copy someone else's and expect it to work for you. You've just got to make it, you got to figure out your own rules and go from there. Okay. Next up, Aaron and Tamika.
Oh yeah, dude. So it was interesting. It was an amazing amount of trial and error because again, I have acquired a disability, so my role changed entirely. So figuring out how to change position, figuring out just how to become at least me being comfortable, and that was just more of an acceptance part on my side. That took some time, and definitely like communication is definitely key. And we played around with all kinds of stuff. So from how real do we want to get?
How real are you comfortable with? It's all about what you're comfortable with.
We went to stores. We did research online. Talked to people who had already had the same issues. Like, I mean, you just have to figure out what is important and just work on it. Some stuff that we were told by doctors just wasn't true. So, as he healed, it was easier to kind of know like what times of day are better and like how you're in the mood and when you get in the mood, how much time we got. And so just work on it. But we were already together, 8 years when he was injured. So, it's not like, I don't get what I want, so let me just change my mind. So it was, there's already a connection there. So it was easier to explore new things if we hadn't done it before.
Okay. Elizabeth and Mark?
I'd say, like a lot of people have been saying, communication is a big thing for us sometimes. So like physical intimacy is obviously a big part, but also sometimes, or maybe sometimes a lot of times really, we move over into like the mental components of it, because it's like that can, do certain things as well. So it's not always just like the body needs to be the thing that's involved here. So,
Mhm.
it's a lot of exploring that we have to do. And it's always good to have, I guess I'll just kind of say like, have water ready in the room to recover, just to help with things like that. It's a small thing, but yeah. And it's like you were saying before, your relationship is what you make it and all that. And
Mhm.
I've lost my
Yeah.
train of thought. So I'm all done now.
And like learning, I think where you were going with that was like learning different ways to be intimate. It doesn't always have to look the same.
Yeah.
There's different ways to explore intimacy. There's different ways that it has less of a negative physical impact if someone's not like doesn't have the health or whatever at the time for it. There are other ways to explore each other and explore intimacy without having to have that stereotypical idea of what it looks like.
Yeah. Agreed. It's just figuring out what it looks like for you.
And knowing that it might not always happen, and it might start to happen and then not.
Mhm.
And it just like the vacation thing, nothing's 100%, and you just have to be able to go with the flow a little bit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Go with the flow. That's a big thing. It's like got to be flexible, and
And not just in the physical way, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much for your honesty. That's kind of an open question. And some people are more okay with talking about it than others. So I really appreciate all of you talking about it to the best of your comfortable, whatever, don't worry about it. So we did get a question before from one of our registering questions. What do you love most about your partner? Let's get squishy. Do we need to think about what we love most about our partner? Do we need, reflection time?
So just at the risk of sounding like a record stuck on repeat, but it's just I gotta go back to the communication and just the sheer fact that from day one, she has always been willing to communicate her feelings, her thoughts, ask me about stuff, and be very like verbally intimate. And for me, that's always been a huge thing because I'm very much like the kind of person where I'm very difficult to offend, very difficult to upset. And so because of that, like I don't say like long story short is that she was willing to like always voice her insecurities and always make sure that like I knew how she felt about stuff. And so because of that, I've always managed to feel like really secure in the relationship. Like there's never that well, sometimes on your side you've gotten a little nervous about stuff, but then you've asked me about it and I'm like, no, we're good.
Yeah, it's my attachment style. That's what I've learned with them.
Yeah, attachment style. Yeah, so if anyone knows that you've got avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, and then secure attachment, and I don't know what's wrong with the secure attachments because that just seems unnatural. So I am definitely anxious. But yeah, just checking in and hey, he's still good, and yep, still good. I like that.
Plus, it also helps that she's like that. All of that stuff just builds into like being really understanding of each other's like wants and needs and stuff. And she's always been really respectful and understanding of my very, I would even say at this point, objectively eccentricities. Like my hobbies are very extreme. A lot of the things I'm into are, to a certain degree. And she's never made me feel invalidated about stuff. We give each other crap all the time about things, but never make each other feel bad about the little things, or in my case, the big things that we do in order to, pass every time.
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly convinced that a romantic relationship is just annoying the heck out of each other for the rest of your lives. Like that's just relationship goals. So, Kim and Andrew, what do you love most about your partner?
I'll say that one of the things I think we say is that we're always waiting for us to annoy each other, and we often don't. Like we often say that we don't, and
Nothing big anyways.
nothing big, and we finish each other's sentences, and
Well,
Kim's really funny.
I mean, what I love most about you is just how good of a person you are, and his brain, like, he's very smart. He can speak about almost anything, and he often does. And then I really loved how much he loved and got along with all my friends and all my family. So, and yeah, so.
Yeah, it's important to see how well the partner handles all your other relationships too. Yeah. Tamika, is Aaron still there? Did he run off? Oh, there he is.
I guess what I love most about him is that we're both very competitive, and is always motivation to do the next thing. Like we positively push each other towards something, and it's like we're constantly trying to outdo each other, but still being like supportive to each other. And like that's gotten us through a lot, and it's my favorite part about him. Like he doesn't back down even when I'm just like, I'm gonna do this, and he's like, we gonna see. So but yeah, that's like my favorite part.
Okay.
Taking notes.
All right. Where do I start? I honestly think the biggest thing I love about her is that her lack of filter. Sometimes it can be annoying, but most of the time it's something that I don't think I have the courage enough to say or courage enough to do. And that has been a huge, I mean, that's been a reoccurring theme in our whole relationship, injury or not. I mean, she's always been like that. And I've always respected that, and I've always admired that. The fact that she can handle an insane amount of stress in comparison to the normal person and still just manage to get through a regular day. Fighting children. Yeah,
I got it.
you got it. Yeah.
Exhibit A.
Yeah. It's a Thursday. But yeah, so she has always been, she's always just been somebody I respected and admired, and she always continues to do that. She's never stagnant. It's always a new project. It's always a new venture. So whether it's going to a new place, going to a new restaurant, traveling somewhere, meeting new people, as much as she claims she's antisocial, she loves being around people. And
but by myself.
But by herself. But yeah, she's really a person that I respect, and that keeps me coming back.
Awesome. All right, Elizabeth and Mark.
I love his kindness, and he just has a real, like, even without the disability stuff, he's just a real caretaker, and I feel very safe with him. I feel very protected by him, and he's also just kind of one of those people that's up for anything, no matter how like weird or silly it is. I remember one of our dates was going to Lake. In the very, very beginning was we went to Deerberg's at like midnight and we found these chairs, these like office chairs in the middle of one of the aisles, and we were just like racing them up and down the aisles. Just silly stuff like that. We've gotten yelled at by people in the toy department in Walmart, just like random stuff that he doesn't have much that if I'm like, hey, let's do this, he's like, yeah, let's do it. He might not think of the silly things, but he's definitely one to go along with them.
I'd say I have like a couple things, and one of them I'll just say kind of benefited me a lot. And I've learned from her just like communication. For like 30 years of my life, I've just been pretty bad at doing it most of the time, like communicating needs and like really listening. But like meeting her and communicating with her over the past like 4 years has just been like just exponential growth, I feel like, in me. And
Which I think you're a great listener. So
right, yeah. So just the listening and the reciprocation of all that has been like feels really good to know that it's like way different than, you know, the rest of my life. You know, it's just so different. And just like she was saying before about how she is like I'm definitely game for like whatever she's coming up with. That's a big thing that I love about her. Is like there's always that next thing that is like let's go do that. And it's not always like office chairs through Dearborn, but it's like bigger adventures, or even it's just like new adventurous food or whatever. It's just like trying out those spice of life kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know how she really does it, but there's always that thing that she finds. And it's kind of impressive how she does it. I don't know how she does it, but I really like it. Man, what else?
That's enough.
That's enough.
That's
Okay,
enough.
that's enough.
We could go on and on and on and on.
All done.
Gabby, did you get a chance to answer?
No, I didn't, but I would have said basically what Juan said about me. I like that we have a foundation of friendship, and we can, on days don't do that. Days where, you know, I really miss my younger brother. I just look at Ron and get it, and I'm just kidding. But on days where, like, you know, the amount of attention and energy that romance takes sometimes is not sustainable for a super long time nonstop. We're really good friends, so that is a good basis for everything else that we can do together. So yeah. Sorry he was being so annoying while I was talking.
I know, and you managed to stay on topic through
I didn't
that
think
for the most part. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for sharing and for being very honest and open. Sometimes it's kind of weird to talk about your romantic relationship and the intricacies of it all. So we really appreciate it. I dropped some resources in. I might just send an email of some of those, just some blogs to read. 2 announcements before we wrap up. Thank you so much once again for sticking around. I know we're 6 minutes late. So 2 announcements. One is our youth and family program is doing a sexual health program in June. So I will send information out. And you know, it's for youth, so 16 to 21. So check that out if you have any kiddos. And then our speaker series, the next topic that we have is in May, and it is traveling with a disability. So if you like to travel and have a lot of experiences to share about some of the maybe perks and also headaches of airplanes, I mean, of other traveling, we'd love to hear it. So, but otherwise, stay tuned for May and we'll have another panel like this. So thank you guys once again. Thanks for hanging out with us and talking about Valentine's stuff. And I hope you all have a good night.
You too. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Bye.
You guys are awesome.